you've got a nice lawn and you work hard at it, you fertilize it, you spray the weeds, you mow it very well, you trim it, you do all that work that goes with it, you really need to keep it watered to keep it nice, especially when it gets hot. So if you've got a big lawn like I do, it's really hard to move a sprinkler around and get everything. So we were very fortunate that when we moved in 18, 19 years ago, the house already had a sprinkler system. Now, what I did, I had to upgrade all of the heads. They were the old-fashioned kind, the orbital heads, that kind of thing. I replaced it with things like this. These are the ones that pop up and just nice, quiet spray all around. These are 360 degrees. They happen to be Toro. I've also used Orbit. They're really good. Now, one of the things that I'm going to talk to you today about is timers. This is what actually controls your system and turns it on and off at the specified time. You tell it how much you want each zone to be watered. And this is an old one that I just removed and got a new one. The old one was, the buttons on it are actually getting bad. That's why I said, all right, it's time I got to change it. But I've got water restrictions here in Freehold, New Jersey, where I have to water only on odd and even days. Ours is even because our house number's even. And that way they're supposed to conserve water. This is a 12 station, which means you can hook up 12 different zones. Each one of them gets a different wire. And there are these valves in the ground that turn on the water to each one of your zones. All my valves were buried in the garden somewhere, and I couldn't find them. So one of the things that I did is I replaced it all. I put in an anti-siphon valve, which is, you could see it here. The anti-siphon valve is code, so it prevents water from backing into the house water. I replaced the valves for all of the 5 zones, and I put it in this nice little box that allows me to find it when I need to. Let me talk about the new control that I got. This is a Rachio. The Rachio is an intelligent controller. That means a couple of things. Number one, I can use my smartphone, an app on my smartphone, to program it and to turn it on and off whether I'm home or I'm away from home. In addition, it knows the weather. It communicates over the internet to weather channels. It knows where you are, and so it knows how much rain you are getting, have gotten, or will be getting. And so it adjusts your watering automatically for that. So this one doesn't do that. This one just listens to what you tell it to do. If you say water every day at 4 a.m. for 30 minutes a zone, it will do it, even if it's pouring rain outside. This one knows that it's getting rain and it doesn't need to water, so it skips it. So let me show you how I installed this. Installation of the Rachio is really easy. The first thing I did was open up so I could see the wires on the old one, and I took a picture with my phone so that I would know which colors went to which zone. That way when I put the new one on, I'll make sure I put them in the right spot. The way this works is there's DC current that goes down each one of those zones, but there's a common wire that goes for all of them. So if you think about it, the common wire is the negative and all of the zone wires are positive. The common wire in my situation was a really fat red wire that wouldn't fit into the slot. So I wound up taking my Dremel and just filing it down a little bit just so I could get it small enough to get into the hole, get it started, and then I pushed it in the rest of the way. Then I wired each of the 5 zones. This Rachio supports 8 zones. You can also get one that does 16 zones. And I also have a rain sensor switch that I used on the old model, and the Rachio supports it. That's what these last 2 wires are. I hooked it up, but I don't know that I'm actually going to enable it because they say you really don't need to. They say that the intelligent watering inside the Rachio is good enough. But I hooked it up and I can enable or disable it right through the app. So that was the next thing I had to do. I downloaded the app on my phone. I set up an account, and right away it found my Rachio device. I connected it to my Wi-Fi, told it how many zones I had, told it what kind of soil I had, told it how much sun, and if there was a slope. That's pretty much all I had to set up. I did that for each of the 5 zones, and then I gave it a test. I have 3 zones out the front and 2 in the back. Here you can see these are my 5 zones. And I set up a program to water. You can see it's going to water every day. So I set up 2 schedules. So if you go into watering schedule, you can see that I have 2 water all zones, and then front left and front middle are the 2 that are going to be on odd days. The rest of them are going to be on even days. All zones are on even days. Front left and front middle is on odd days. Now, even though I've set up a manual schedule, and I have mine so that, according to this, it figures out how long it should water, and it goes about 20 minutes per zone, which is about what I used to do too. I have it set so it goes on at 4 a.m. That way it's done by the time I get in the shower in the morning. I don't want to be competing with the water outside. Now, see, Smart Cycle and Water Intelligence. These are 2 things that are pretty important. This is where the magic of the Rachio comes in. So the Weather Intelligence looks at, it considers a seasonal shift, a climate skip. I guess if it's cooler certain days, it won't water. So basically, I set it up for when I would want it to normally water, and it will skip watering on days that it thinks it doesn't need to be done. It also has the rain skip. I have it set for a 1/16 of an inch of rain. If it gets a 1/16 of an inch of rain, it's not going to water, which might be the default was 1/8 of an inch. I don't know. I can adjust it. There you have it. Now with a touch of a button and my smartphone, I can turn on my smart watering controller. It's a beautiful thing. I've had my Rachio for 3 weeks now. It's really pretty impressive, I gotta tell you. It's been worry-free the whole time. Best thing about it, it skips watering when it doesn't need to, without even asking me. And it doesn't need a rain sensor either. It uses the weather data in our area. So it knows how much rain I got yesterday in the past 24 hours. And it knows how much rain is predicted for 24 hours ahead. Isn't that awesome? It tells me on my phone, we're going to skip your watering because you set up a threshold of this, and here's how much rain you got. So we didn't water for you. It also did a seasonal shift. So when it hit August 1st, it scaled back my zones by 2 minutes a day. Not much, but it's a water savings. And I didn't have to think about it. I never did that. I used to just do mine the same time, all the time, every day. And in a lot of cases, I wouldn't do any kind of rain skip. And it would water in the morning, and it would wind up raining in the afternoon, and it was such a waste of water. So I don't have a well here. It costs me about $8.33 for 1,000 gallons of water here in New Jersey. And I figure this is going to pay for itself in about 2 years with the way that it's been saving water for me. In addition, there are rebates available in certain areas. Not here, but you may have a rebate available depending upon how dry your area is. So check Rachio.com for that information. That might actually defray the cost even further. So the Rachio, I love it, and I highly recommend it. Buy it from Amazon.com using the link below. You will not regret this purchase if you have an in-ground sprinkler system. Now, again, I'm not getting paid to say this. This is not a paid commercial by Rachio, but I stand behind it because I bought it and I use it. Thanks for watching. Visit my website, HandyDadTV, for more great ideas, and subscribe to be the first to know when new videos are posted.